first speaker is Mr. Venkat Sundaram, who's the Vice President L&D at SAR Group. He's the L&D and talent development strategist with 29 years of experience in leading and shaping learning and talent, consulting and Salesforce effectiveness functions. Certified ICF coach. Purpose is to empower and enhance lives of people. Craft is learning culture in organizations. Loves mountains and music. Over to you, sir. You can start your presentation. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to each one of you, and thank you so much to the Middle Earth team for setting up this great conference virtually. And thanks to each of the panelists and all the participants here. So thank you so much. Nitin gave us a quick template in terms of how he wanted us to present. So I'm going to give a quick overview about my organization. So the SAR Group is basically an organization which was founded in '88 by first generation entrepreneurs, and we began by setting up the organization called Luminous, well-known name in the area of inverters. So that's where we began our business, and somewhere during the year 2011 on this journey, our founders had a bigger aspiration of contributing to the globe in terms of doing something more, and therefore we exited the business and we sold the stake of Luminous in two tranches. One in 2011, and the balance 24% stake that was left somewhere during the year 2017. And when we exited the Luminous business, we decided to get into three business areas. So one is the area of energy storage solutions. And here we own two brands called LiveGuard and LiveFast. The second is in the space of purity, where our aspiration is to provide Indian consumers with pure water and pure air. Here we own a brand called LivePure. And the third business that we recently launched, although it got incubated a few years ago, is in the business of e-mobility, where we have started manufacturing electric vehicles, more to do with the three-wheeler commercial vehicles and the two-wheeler vehicles. But at the same time, we are also in the journey of providing the last mile connectivity, whether it is people or it is a product which has to be delivered to the last mile. So that I just thought I'll quickly give an overview the kind of organization where I've been in. I've been here for the last 2.5 years, but I was a consultant to Luminous 15 years ago. So that's how my association with the group and the organization. So as we began our SAR journey too, so we are called the SAR group. The SAR journey 1.0 gets over in 2011 with sell-off of Luminous to Schneider. As we get into the SAR version 2.0, which is almost 7 years, we want to create a global organization. We want to ensure that we are able to achieve our purposes, and as part of that, one of the competitive advantages that we want to create is ensuring that we have the right people. That's something that cannot be duplicated, right? So the culture, the organization, the people, I think that's the crux of any organization. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to quickly move on, because the second part of what I'm going to be talking about is more to do with the pandemic challenges, responses. And, I'm going to quickly talk about when the pandemic hit us, many of us as L&D specialists or HR specialists, were encouraged to, immediately get into, engaging with employees. I think that was the first ask that all of us had. And I think many of us just kept rolling out various things that had to be done to engage with employees. I think many of you would have experienced that. Many of us would have also been a party to, doing that engagement with employees in various ways that we could. Now, as we were going through the journey, I think one of the first things we asked ourselves was the video. So one of the first questions that that we asked ourselves was, what is it that our employees actually want. And we said, there is a lot of uncertainty in the business. The demands had all shrunk immediately. Uh, there was this future fear of lockdown which emerged. Both revenues and profits were, under risk. So I think that was the first uncertainty. And needless to say, I think employees were completely worried about what is going to happen to them because everything was uncertain. I think one of the biggest steps that we took as an organization, and I'm sure many also did that, was to ensure and create certainty for our people and our business partners and ensure cash profit. So we said every employee in the organization will retain their jobs. No one will lose their jobs, come what may. That was the first step that we took. We said we need to ensure that our channel partners, because all our products or most of our products get sold through the channel, the distribution channel. So we said they need to feel confident. And then we said we need to ensure that, we did rework our plans. It's not that we did not. We reworked our plans. So the revenue delivery plan was changed. Not much. One of our businesses, we had to tweak it low. And one of the businesses, we actually said, here is an opportunity and we need to do something differently. But clearly, from a people perspective, we said behaviors are areas that we really need to rework and relook on. So this is more from an internal perspective. But what was happening externally? So the market challenge externally was, our channel partners' confidence, completely dipped. They were worried about their existence first. They were worried about, whether we will continue. They were worried about whether we will together, work in the markets and, get back things to normal. I think that was the biggest worry, and needless to say, they were right. So what did we do? We did a few things. One is immediately we said we will have virtual channel meets. So we had a lot of channel meetings with the channel partners. Apart from the CEOs and the HR team and the business teams, we had the founders there in those meets. So we did numerous meets and, in different intervals, trying to answer to their questions, queries, getting to talk about how can they continue to do their businesses differently. I think that was the first step. So that contact and that connect was critical. We started building, digital tools and empowered them with digital tools which they can use to, stay connected with their end customers. So that was the second. We had the database, so we provided them with the tools so that they keep, messaging their end consumers. And one of the things that we taught our sales teams to do was to start doing virtual sales calls. So that was a big pivot that had to happen. People who were used to doing physical sales calls face to face, we had to retrain them and do the same thing very differently. So that was the first step in how we responded. The second was in terms of low customer and walk-in. So even after the unlock 1.0, 2.0 had begun, customer walk-ins were very low. And we did a few initiatives, and this is more from a business perspective. One is we pivoted our own business model from business to business. When I say business or business to channels, to business to customers. So we directly started reaching out to customers by setting up a strategic digital call center. We set up various other modes of connecting to customers through our service teams. So we redirected whatever we had to do through the channel by directly reaching to the customer. But one of the things we ensured was, we ensured that the sale that was coming through was getting routed through the channel. So that was one of the things that we ensured, because we had to maintain the confidence level and the trust that the channel partners always had on us. Digital marketing completely picked up, so I'm not going to talk about it. And the second part, like the sales teams, we started training our service teams on how to provide virtual service to the customers using a video. So something like a do-it-yourself. It was a mix of a do-it-yourself using the video as a mode to reach out to customers. And then wherever possible, we did have our service teams actually going to customers and meeting them to provide them the service. But we also used this opportunity to fill in for the low customer walk-in, and focused on either doing a cross sale or doing an upsale, so that revenue continues to come in. But the focus continued to be on ensuring customer service. So that was the second challenge in how we responded. The third, and you will see a mixed color because it's a necessary evil, right? While the brick and mortar market is going to be one of the ways that's going to be continuing to generate business, but online platform, picked up. All of us probably started buying everything online, right? From a bread to butter to probably a washing machine. People started buying things online. We could see a increase in sales. I think all of us have experienced that. The second challenge, and I'm going to cover both of them together, is reduced customer spend. That was the other because like many organizations, there were pay cuts. We saw that happening across. So there was so all discretionary spends were put into the cold storage. So we had to respond to these two. So what did we do? One is we said we will continue with both channels, but we will have different models for different channels. So one is you differentiate so that you reduce the cannibalization of a product. That was one. Second, we quickly understood that the market had new needs and we had to respond to that new needs. And the way we responded was launch new products. So for example, Live Pure is into purity. So we launched, UV-based products to sanitize a product. We launched products to sanitize your vegetables, fruits, etc., etc. I'm just giving this as an example. Uh, uh, in our LiveGuard business, we suddenly realized that people wanted uninterrupted internet and electricity in the rural areas, or in the tier two cities go up. So we quickly launched a product which would give you uninterrupted power supply without investing on a large UPS or a small one, a mini-sized one which can keep your internet and your laptop going. So stuff like that. So we quickly responded to that. And lastly, we got into a model which was the water as a service model, where purity of water, instead of doing a capital investment, you do a rental model and you pay by the liter of water. So those were the ways by which we, quickly responded to the market scenario. But then we had to pivot our own teams. All of us had to pivot ourselves. So basically, skills, behaviors, were the two focus areas apart from the knowledge piece of it. We engaged people through a lot of learning vitamins. We called it a learning vitamin, and daily quizzes to ensure that the new skill and new behaviors get reinforced. But the way we ran the whole thing was completely through curated learning. I think Nitin covered it as part of blended learning, using various technologies. So I'm not going to talk about that just in the interest of time. But then one of the things we did was we did a cascaded model wherein we got trainers from within the organization. So people in the business had to become trainers. And that was a big challenge for us. So almost 45 trainers we had to create in the system. And it was not only that they were going to be training for the first time, but they were going to be training virtually. So I think that was one of the biggest, and Nitin talked about being able to train virtually. I think that was the challenge, and that was one area that we worked on. But we did stuff which was completely business focused, completely people focused, whether it was skill building, whether it was leadership development, whether it was getting people to work on new behaviors, whether it was pivoting them to sell differently. So we did multiple interventions to be able to cater and pivot our teams within the organization. So that's my last slide. And there was and by the way, not just training, we actually did a complete sales transformation program where we saw this as an opportunity to do things differently. So, so the pandemic was something that we kept seeing differently. We said there is an opportunity to do things differently, and our founders always believed on that. So I think the key message I wanted to just pass on is look at every opportunity of change as look at every change as an opportunity and just pivot. And then whatever change needs to be done, whether it's using technology or different ways, you just go ahead and do it, and you learn as you go ahead.